Good afternoon and thank you for joining us. You're watching NTV at 1. We have all the stories that are making headlines across the country and beyond. My name is Zinab Ismail. Now, the Law Society of Kenya says President Uhuru Kenyatta has until October to dissolve Parliament over the two-thirds gender rule. The lawyers, led by LSK Chair Nelson Havi, further wants MPs' salaries stopped, their security withdrawn, constituency offices closed by the 12th of October. Havi, who led a demonstration in Nairobi, explained that the law is explicit regarding such an advisory by the Chief Justice to the President. This comes as the Attorney General and the Speaker of the National Assembly held a meeting this morning.
We have also asked the Parliamentary Service Commission to ensure that the two houses of Parliament are closed to members of the National Assembly and the Senate effective the 12th of October, because these individuals will no longer have the authority of the people of Kenya to hold themselves out as parliamentarians. Kenyans, lastly, we have asked the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission to ensure compliance by political parties. And this is important because I've seen political party leaders led by Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga and Honorable Musalia Mudavadi lamenting the action of the Chief Justice. They are the cause of this problem, Kenyans. They must be called out. And this is what the IEBC is required to do. It is required to ensure that the two-thirds gender principle is complied with by political parties in nominations in respect of the by-election that will ensure subsequent to the advisory given by the Chief Justice.
Now, the Migori County Assembly Deputy Speaker George Omamba has once again been barred from carrying out his duties. This comes a day after he was reinstated back, causing chaos on the floor of the Assembly. He has since handed over his responsibility to Ntimaru East MCA Augustine Mwise, as our correspondent Bernard Ojwang reports from Migori. Bernard?
Well, it is an incident that has been really criticized and condemned by many people. It all started yesterday, immediately after Migori County Deputy Speaker George Omamba came back with the court order reinstating him as the legitimate Deputy Speaker, and he was allowed to continue with his duty as Deputy Speaker. And of course, it seems it was all not that welcomed by many MCAs here. They were saying that because of there was not a good peer with between him and the MCAs. Things went all didn't go well, and also we saw one of the female MCA nominated Mary Olodo was really hurt and is currently getting treatment at Migori Ombo Mission Hospital. And currently today, what happened immediately when the MCAs came back to resume the session here, and of course, what's happening here, when they came, there was another letter barring Migori County Deputy Speaker George Omamba from continuing with his duties. And of course, it forced him to give all the responsibility to Ntimaru East Augustine Mwise, at least to continue with the duties. And we are now having Migori County Deputy Speaker George Omamba. Mheshimiwa, it is something that has been going on. It happened yesterday. What's happening? What do you think is happening here?
Can you start by telling the public, well, that few, not many, few MCAs that were trying to block, there were 7 in number, and you know them by name. I do not want to get back there. We managed to, there was some fracas here in the assembly yesterday. There are some 7 members who did not want me to go back to the office, but majority of members did say that Honorable Mamba was removed, but it was returned by the same court, and we have to respect that. So that brought the fracas in the morning. In fact, one of us got injured, and they still have just come from the hospital. To encourage her, she's doing well. We really want to discourage such. So that is what happened. But later on, we got an opportunity to say and agreed I am the Deputy Speaker.
What's the problem? Because we are made to understand that there's another letter barring you from continuing with your duties.
The letter is did an application in court, which was granted on 8th May. And so when it came, it stopped any election of any deputy speaker. It stopped any someone acting. It stopped all those things, that orders that were given. That was on 8th. So when I went back to court on 26th, I went back on issue of contempt because they had not respected that. So it is the contempt that was stopped, that was taken. Proceedings. But because of I'm a gentleman, I felt that I start the house. Of course, I did start the house and said that as we still we are still checking on lawyers to interpret for us it was just prudent. I was in the office and we were with those lawyers we were waiting for the other lawyers to interpret for us what that order was. Okay. So I am the Deputy Speaker. Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, Zainab, you've just heard from Deputy Speaker George Omamba himself is saying that indeed he got the letter, and of course he is still the Deputy Speaker, and he will be here. And remember, it is something that was really criticized by many, and of course he is saying that he is just from the hospital, at least to talk to the injured MCA, and they are saying that it is something they are going to solve in-house. And remember, it is this is the story we'll be following keenly. And as we speak, everything has been adjourned up to next week, where the impeachment motion will be tabled here, and we'll be giving you more information in the evening. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Bernard, there from Migori County. Well, electricity distributor Kenya Power has commenced relocation of power lines between Mlolongo Mombasa Road and James Gishuru Road to pave way for the construction of the 27.1 kilometers long Nairobi Expressway. The exercise is expected to be completed by the end of November and will cost at least 1.1 billion shillings, a cost which will be met by the Kenya National Highways Authority. Construction of the 59 billion shillings Chinese-funded elevated highway will take 3 years, and motorists will have to pay at least 300 shillings every time they use it, as financiers seek to recoup their funds in a toll system that they will operate for 27 years.
But when it comes to moving the power lines, the transmission lines, and relocating them, the relocation exercise will be about 100 kilometers or so. The reason is, even though the 27 is the direct line, these lines are interconnected, and other lines out off the road have to move to. This is a very expensive exercise, going to cost about 1 billion Kenyan shillings. Luckily, the government through Kenya has allocated this money as part of the project.
We have undertaken to clear this job. We have been given a timeline, which is end of November this year, that we have to wrap our infrastructure, but at the same time, ensure that our customers are on supply. That is having electricity.
Now, President Uhuru Kenyatta has challenged the international community to look at the coronavirus pandemic as it makes plans to attain the Sustainable Development Goals. The head of state was addressing the 75th session of the United Nations General Assembly that was attended virtually by a majority of world leaders.
The high-level week of the United Nations General Assembly session began with the first ever SDG moment, which aimed to set the stage for the commemoration of the 75th anniversary of the creation of the United Nations, other high-level events during the week, and the decade of action for the SDGs. Many speakers took the opportunity to highlight the critical importance of multilateralism to achieve any of our shared goals.
This is an occasion to reflect on our world and its institutions. Have our relations and institutions been refined by experience and the passage of time?
President Uhuru Kenyatta noted that the COVID-19 pandemic gives fresh impetus to the collective efforts to strengthen international cooperation. The head of state stated that the global pandemic has deepened existing inequalities, hitting the poorest and the most vulnerable communities the hardest.
We adopted a continental COVID-19 mitigation strategy, which has had great success in coordinating continental efforts to prevent severe illness and death from COVID-19, as well as minimizing social and economic disruptions.
In order to cushion the community, President Kenyatta stated that Kenya has offered financial and tax interventions to keep the economy and businesses viable and solvent.
Call upon the global community to enhance cooperation and assistance to developing countries in vulnerable situations so as to bolster their economies and healthcare systems and to achieve universal healthcare coverage as envisioned in the 2019 UHC political declaration.
The head of state has promised that the government would use its non-permanent seat at the United Nations Security Council to continue its frontline state in global efforts to confront terrorism and violent extremism. Leila Mohammed, NTV.
Now, the Senate Committees on Health and the COVID-19 situation in Kenya probing the procurement fraud at the Kenya Medical Supplies Authority is today meeting with representatives from the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry. The KNCCI President Richard Ngatia, however, failed to appear, instead sending his Vice President to make submissions before the Parliamentary Committee. Ngatia is also the CEO of Megascope Healthcare Limited, a company which has been adversely mentioned in the scandal. Yesterday, the Public Procurement Regulatory Authority preliminary investigation report mentioned Megascope as one of the companies that was awarded tenders regularly. KEMSA's board chairman Kembe Gitura had last month told the National Assembly's Health Committee that the procurement of the reagents and masks was done in collaboration with the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Now, doctors in Trans Nzoia County have threatened to down their tools starting Friday. The medics who issued the strike notice on September 7th to the county government claim that their issues are yet to be addressed.
Health services could be paralyzed from Friday, September 25th in Trans Nzoia County. Medics working in government health facilities say a 2-week strike notice has expired. None of their grievances have been addressed, they say.
When you look at issues of salaries, people are now giving excuses of problems in the Senate and the rest. But no, we've had this problem for the past 5 years. Salary delays. You can imagine today is 23rd of September. People have not earned August salary.
The doctors further claim that the county has failed to pay them by 5th of every month as agreed.
A CBA which they committed to implement by the end of by specific timelines, and over the past 3 years they have barely implemented 30%.
As a union, the county has been remitting subscription from our members ever since the union was there. And the last remittance they made was in May 2017. And so the county has taken over 4 million of our members' money, and they are staying with them. We don't know where the money is. They need to tell us where they are. Residents
are already feeling the pinch, with many patients waiting longer before they are attended to in major hospitals. Judith Cherono, NTV.
Well, goods worth 5 million shillings have been recovered by police and anti-counterfeit officers in Nairobi's central business district. The officers, working on a tip-off from the public, raided stores along Gaborone Road, where they seized various electronic and printing equipment. The officers say that the business operators had mastered the art of ensuring that the imported illegal goods get to the market without detection, even at the airports.
This is a syndicate within which it's an organized crime, and what they are doing basically is illicit business. They hide what they are doing. We have managed to also arrest 5 suspects, which are now undergoing interrogation to reveal maybe the source and how their business how they work their business within the city.
Hii ukifuata sana sana ni ile watu wana supply kwa government. Kwa sababu tona mingi kama hizi utakuta ni tenders ndio wanatafuta wakisupply. Kwa sababu government ndio inachukua vitu mingi kuliko ile mtu anaenda kununua. Na tungeenda kueleza wananchi wajihadhari na ile tona wananunua, kwa sababu hii ndio inaharibu maprinda.
All right, and government spokesman Cyrus Owino had quite an experience after recovering from COVID-19, and he shared that experience with Olive Barrows here at NTV. Let's take a look at a preview of that conversation.
At that point, I was not sure whether I was really alive or dead. Hardship is different from pain. Honestly, I've been to Somalia, but this was the most trying experience. I was able to brush my teeth after about 14 days.
How do they know this is not a PR exercise?
I have got nothing that I want to achieve from this. I already have my reputation as a soldier, which was enough reputation.
Having been there, what does it make you feel when you hear reports that perhaps some of these monies were not used as they were for what they were meant for?
It is not right for that money to be put into any different use.
Well, you do not want to miss that conversation. It airs tonight at 9 p.m. with Olive Barrows. Now, the Kenya Ports Authority Acting Managing Director Rashid Salim has revealed that investigations into the accident that occurred at berth number 7 and 8 at the port of Mombasa, killing 2 people and injuring several others, is almost complete. Rashid maintains that operations were halted awaiting safety report from an independent surveyor.
Currently, we've had a technical committee on the ground. They've done the report. We've stopped any loading using that plant until all the reports are done. Our technical team and an independent surveyor comes and has a look at the safety. Then we'll carry on with the process. But for now, we'll stop that.
Now, on the morning of Monday, September 23rd, 2019, pupils of Precious Talent School in Nairobi met a tragedy, likely to live with those who survived it forever. A school building collapsed, killing 7 and injuring many more. A year on, families affected by the tragedy are still coming to terms with the loss. Leila Mohammed reports.
Alex Muturi has to live with a new reality. His ability to walk, run and play as he did a year ago is a memory now. That the journey to a full recovery is long. He is, however, hopeful of better days ahead. Muturi was in class 6 on that fateful Monday morning when the building where his classroom was suddenly collapsed, injuring him and others and also killing his friends and schoolmates.
Sai unavyoona inaendelea vizuri, mguu inasonga na nataka kusema asante kwa wenye wametusaidia kama Pasaris.
Maisha ya familia yangu imekuwa magumu sana sababu ya mahitaji yenye tunahitaji na sana sana yeye. Sababu wakati alitoka hospitali hakuwa ameweza kujitegemea hata kukaa. Choo hawezi njipeleka. Alikuwa anatumia diapers zile za watu wazima na hata kuzipata ni ngumu. Tulikuwa tunaenda kuitafuta mpaka na huko kuna Karen the Hubs na ziko very expensive.
Alex says that much as he is still in pain, he has expectations.
Ningeomba serikali initafutie shule mzuri ile yenye inaweza ni handle vizuri.
Since the school's closure by the Ministry of Education, the pupils have been transferred to other schools within the Dagoretti area.
Kianza ati watoto wetu wataenda standard 1 tena na primary, lakini hatujaona. So tunaomba. Saa hii tunaona next year iko karibu sana. Si mtufanyie kitu angalau hata si tusikie tunasaidika. Gando hakuna kitu, hatuna health facility, hatuna primary.
But while the residents wait on the government to bring in the much needed infrastructure, those affected say they still find each day a challenge.
Wakaanzisha a get together ile wanakuanga one family, na in fact wengine hata hawatakangi kusikia. Yani mkianza hizo stories si ati wanafurahi sana. For example, hata kuna mmoja venye kuna mtu ameniambia nataka kuwahoji. Nimeongea na mzazi mmoja nikamuuliza. Akaniambia ngojea niongee na bibi yangu, na hata hajanijibu. Hawajawahi come into terms, and hao watoto walikufa kifo ya uchungu sana, and walikuwa wameumia sana.
A year on, the pain is still raw, the hurt and the disappointing part of the new reality, which they still feel is a nightmare they will wake up from soon. Leila Mohammed, NTV.
All right, let's take a quick break. We'll be back.
Sona moja imetengenezwa kwa njia spesheli ili kupambana na maumivu kwa haraka. Sona moja ina aspirin kama kiungo. Sona moja, kitulizo kamili. Maumivu yakizidi, pata ushauri wa daktari.
Mbolea za Mavuno Fertilizers zimetengenezwa mahususi kusaidia udongo na mimea. Zimetengenezwa kwa taaluma ya hali ya juu ya kisayansi. Zaidi ya wakulima 500,000 nchini wanaweza kupata mbolea hizi kwa bei nafuu. Zinapatikana katika maduka ya kuuza pembejeo kwa viwango vya kilo 1 hadi kilo 50. Wakulima ambao wametumia mbolea za Mavuno Fertilizers wamepata ongezeko la mazao yao kwa 30%. Wasiliana nasi leo kwa simu ili kujua mengi kuhusu namna mbolea za mavuno zinavyosaidia kuongeza uzalishaji chakula nchini.
Breaking news from Molfix. Let's see what they're developing right now.
Molfix pants with anatomic fit technology. New Molfix pants, an invention from babies for babies.
You should also try Molfix.
Blue band margarine. New look, same great taste.
When the world changed, it made us go back to the simple joys and love the little things even more. Like serving up your best, eating together, and sharing more. Now, we'll take nothing for granted. And always remember to taste the simple joys. Coca-Cola. Taste the simple joys.
When you buy a bar of Cadbury Dairy Milk chocolate, you can help change the story. That's because we will use part of the proceeds to donate milk to less fortunate children across our beautiful country. Let us come together and show the generous spirit that is inside of all of us. Cadbury Dairy Milk. There's a glass and a half in everyone.
Devki Steel Mills have provided quality building material with the widest range of associated steel products over the last 3 decades. Look for the Devki mark on a widest selling reinforcement, twisted and TMT rebars, which are KBS certified and have the diamond mark of quality. Devki Steel, Kenya's most trusted steel company.
Well, thank you for staying with us. You're watching NTV at 1. An emergency road accident response center has been constructed in Naivasha along the Nakuru-Eldoret Highway. The center, which was built by Isuzu East Africa, will provide emergency medical services. The center will be equipped with several medical and communication equipment, which will be operated by nurses. This is the first response center in the country and is aimed at saving lives by providing emergency care to accident victims before onward transportation to hospitals. Isuzu East Africa Managing Director Rita Kavashe said that the company invested 3 million shillings to construct the center.
This is the first one that we have launched together with the nurse in hand, and the strategy is to roll out about 22. The vision is to roll out about 22 of them across the highway from Mombasa all the way to the Malaba border. So once this one picks up, we're looking to use our lessons and learnings from this first pilot.
Meanwhile, residents of Tasia Estate in Embakasi in Nairobi risk contracting waterborne diseases due to lack of a proper drainage system. This has prompted the youth to come together to conduct a cleanup exercise. The residents have also raised concerns about increased cases of land grabbing, which has left the area without a proper dumping site. The residents have been left with no option but to release raw waste onto the public roads.
Choo zote zinamwawa hapa, mnaona mapipa iko hapa, uchafu wa kila aina uko hapa, na haya ni mazingira baba watoto wanakaa wanachezea hapa. Kwa hivyo nataka nisingatie niseme kwamba ikiwa hatutahukumika na iwe jukumu letu kufanya usafi, ni sisi tutaumia, watoto wetu wataumia, kizazi chetu kitaumia.
Well, internationally, Pope Francis has called for equality in how states and the citizens respond to the COVID-19 crisis. Now, during an audience at the Vatican, Pope Francis called for the culture of solidarity and equality, saying that both the powerful and the weak need a listening ear. He urged states to put more consideration on their healthcare workers who are on the front line of dealing with the pandemic. Pope Francis further stressed the need for states to rethink the financial measures in place, stating that companies with deep pockets are favored while being given a leeway in enacting certain decisions rather than the needs of the common people. All right, and in the sporting world, rising star Tyler Herro scored a career-high 37 points and Jimmy Butler chipped in 24 as the Miami Heat seized command of their Eastern Conference Final Series with a 112-109 win on Wednesday. The 20-year-old rookie hero made 5 of 10 threes as Miami took a 3-1 lead in the best-of-7 series in the NBA's quarantine bubble in Orlando in Florida. Hero's point total is the second most in a playoff game for a player 20 or younger, behind only Magic Johnson, who had 42. The win moved them to within one victory of an NBA Finals berth, which they will try to secure in Game 5 on Friday. Jason Tatum scored a team-high 28 points, all coming in the second half, and Jaylen Brown had 21 for Boston, who were looking to win consecutive playoff games for the first time since the start of the second-round series against the Toronto Raptors.
But it's hardly played a little bit in the bubble as Tyler Herro banks it home.
Lers thinking pass more than score, so he stayed into the roll lane and was able to deflect the ball.
Tyler Herro, he played over 30 minutes in that game 3. Said he was gassed after the first 5 minutes. Herro, nice fake to get rid of Tatum and then knocks it down. How about this 20-year-old Herro doing it again for the Heat?
This is a knockdown shooter and playing with extreme confidence right now.
31-28, Heat with a 3-point advantage. Herro lost it, got it back, turns, shoots, and scores. Tyler Herro, 11 points in 9 minutes.
Face strict controls on movement and repeated coronavirus tests and measures discussed on Wednesday by a task force charged with finding ways to safely hold the postponed Tokyo 2020 Games. And with less than a year until the Olympics, organizers in Japan Japanese officials met for the second time with a long list of possible requirements on the agenda. Athletes may have to submit a detailed plan of the activities in advance and pledge to follow it or save their whereabouts on a map app, according to documents prepared for the meeting. They may also be required to undergo frequent coronavirus testing, including 3 days before leaving home, another on arrival, and others during the stay. They will, however, be allowed to train during any quarantine. The 2020 Games were postponed in a historic decision earlier this year because of the pandemic and are now set to open on July 23rd next year.
かなり具体的にですね、話し合われたと思うんですけれども、
僕、事前キャンプ選手村と一見その5カ所というふうに5工程というふうに受け取れる。
Now, Arsenal could face Liverpool for a fourth time this year in the English League Cup fourth round should the champions beat League One side Lincoln tonight. Arsenal advanced thanks to a Christian's own goal in the 57th minute and Eddie poked finish against Leicester City in the third round. Meanwhile, Kai hat-trick helped Chelsea to thrash Barnsley 6-0 at the Stamford Bridge. Other Chelsea goals were scored by Tammy Abraham, Rose Barkley and Olivia Giroud. Now born Ansu Fati has become an official member of the FC Barcelona first team. The 17-year-old Spanish striker will wear the number 22, which until now had been assigned to Arturo Vidal for the last 2 seasons. His release clause has been set at 400 million euros. Fati was already training and playing with the senior squad since the beginning of last season. Since he began playing first-team football, Ansu Fati has broken record after record, and likewise for the Spanish national team after winning his first cap this month. The teenage sensation scored 8 goals in his first 33 appearances in the La Liga and the Champions League after making his senior debut on the 25th of August last year. His promotion comes after the exit of Vidal to Inter Milan and Luis Suarez to Atletico Madrid. We had lined up for you this hour. Many thanks for watching. More news in our subsequent bulletins. My name is Zinab Ismail. Do enjoy the rest of your viewing and afternoon.